Hey, Chris Sider here from Ex-Boyfriend Recovery, and today I'm going to teach you about how you can get your ex-boyfriend back if he's moved on to another girl. So the other day I got to thinking, what are some of the people who are getting their exes back doing that the people who aren't getting their exes back not doing? So I went through my website and I took apart all of the success stories I've had over the years, and I learned something shocking. One of the most popular types of success stories are people who have gotten their exes back after their exes have moved on to someone else. So what I'd like to do in this video is talk to you about my strategies for helping you to get your ex-boyfriend back, assuming he's moved on to another girl. Alright, this video is going to be divided into three parts. The first part is rebound relationships. The second part is the grass is greener syndrome. And finally, the third and most important part is the being there strategy. Let's dive in right now to rebound relationships. Common sense tells us that when your ex-boyfriend moves on to someone else, your chances aren't that great. But there's one exception, and that's if he's moved on to a rebound relationship. So what I'd like to do now is give you my description of what a rebound relationship is so you can figure out if he's in that category, assuming he's moved on. There's three telltale signs of a rebound relationship. The first sign is if he moved on really fast. So he broke up with you and then he moves on in a week or something to a new girl. Well, that could be a sign that he's going into a rebound relationship. The second sign is if that rebound relationship doesn't last very long. So in other words, if your ex-boyfriend is dating someone and he's been dating her for like a year, it's probably not a rebound relationship. And finally, the third sign is if he's serious about it. And you can always tell when a man's serious about a relationship depending on how he acts around his friends or how he interacts with her on Facebook or social media. So look at signs like that. Next, we're going to talk about the grass is greener syndrome and how it relates to your situation. Alright, so the grass is greener syndrome is kind of an interesting thing. I always like to think that when it comes to men, they have this invisible attraction scale in their head. And this attraction scale is a living, breathing thing. So everything that goes into the attraction scale is sort of relating to a woman's looks, her personality, her characteristics. Basically anything that would make a man find you attractive goes into this scale, and it's a 1 through 10 scale. So for example, a woman that a man's supremely attracted to would be a 10 on the scale, and a woman that he's not attracted to obviously would be a 1. So what happens with this scale is when an ex-boyfriend first dates you, he goes through something called the honeymoon period. That's where you can do no wrong and everything's perfect in the world. So on his internal attraction scale to you, you're a 9 or a 10. You're almost perfect. But as the relationship goes on, little things about your personality or your characteristics or maybe your looks change and his attraction scale gets lower and lower and lower. And eventually it gets to a point where it's so low where he starts thinking, maybe I could do better than her. So that's when the inevitable breakup occurs and he starts looking for someone else. So he's broken up with you and he starts to look for another girl that he thinks is going to be better than you. And let's say he finds her. He finds a girl and he goes through the same process that he went through with you, the honeymoon period, where she can do no wrong and she's perfect to him. But when you look at her set attraction scale, she doesn't have anything on you. She's boring to him. Her characteristics aren't going to be as good as you. And when the honeymoon period wears off for him, he's going to compare her scale to yours. And yours was better. So he's going to sit there and think to himself, man, I made a mistake breaking up with her. That's kind of the grass is greener syndrome. It's where a man breaks up with you because he thinks he can do better. And sometimes he can't. Sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. But oftentimes it's not. Oftentimes the girl can't hold a candle to you. And you need to keep this in mind when you're trying to get your ex back. So, why would I tell you this whole thing about the grass is greener syndrome? Well, it's to give you hope. It's to let you know that you really do have a chance to get your ex back. Which leads me to my next point. I'm going to give you the ultimate strategy for helping you move things along when it comes to your ex moving on with another girl. I like to call it the being there strategy. Alright, so the being there strategy. You know, if there's one thing that's probably the toughest part about getting an ex-boyfriend back when he's moved on to another girl. It's the fact that you run the risk of painting yourself as the common enemy. And if there's one thing that unites two people more than anything, it's a common enemy. So if you play this the wrong way, your ex and his new girlfriend are going to get united over the fact that you're trying to break them up. So we need to kind of tread this fine line where we're not trying to break them up, but we just put your ex in a position where his ex-girlfriend is really not so fond of you being in the picture, and that's where the being there strategy comes into play. Alright, so I'm not a fan of trying to break people up. That's not what we're about here at Ex-Boyfriend Recovery. But oftentimes, all that you have to do to form a rift between your ex and his new girlfriend is just by being there. Just by being in the picture, just by being consistent with talking to your ex. You don't even need to hit on them. You don't need to use any kind of like super text judo where you get him to hit on you. You don't need to do that. All you got to do is just be there. And his ex-girlfriend will take note, or rather his new girlfriend will take note of you, the ex-girlfriend, being in the picture. So just by being there, you're going to make his new girlfriend jealous of you, his ex-girlfriend. And oftentimes, when jealousy comes into play, men kind of find it attractive at first, but if you are consistent with the fact that you're being there in the picture, he's going to find her jealousy and her insecurity unattractive, and that's what you need to do to kind of show him that she's not all that great. You're the one that's great. I want to take a moment to thank you for getting to the end of this video. I really appreciate you watching it. And I want to offer you an opportunity to become a part of the ex-boyfriend recovery family. We have a whole team of people dedicated to helping you get your ex-boyfriend back. And all you have to do is show your support, and we're more than willing to help you out. You can show your support by simply liking this video, subscribing to our channel, visiting our website at www.exboyfriendrecovery.com. You can find the link in the description below, or just commenting on this YouTube video. Just do something to get involved in this community, and we're more than willing to help you out. We're very responsive. We'll see you later.